Yeah, so I work for a consulting company in Covent Garden called North Highlands.
Firstly, just want to ask, really, why are you getting in a black cab today?
So I live up in Lincolnshire, so I am obviously working down here. It's end of the day, weekends, need to get home. So using Halo and using yourself just to get to the station.
Fantastic. It's always a pleasure to have someone that uses black cabs as well, especially in these times when there's
Uber times. Right?
There's a lot more competition in the marketplace these days.
Hell
so
yeah.
it's good to have someone using a black cab. So tell me a bit about your job again.
It's a company called North Highland. We sort of do consulting and advisory work for different companies, like the retail sector, the telco sector.
Yeah.
Really helping them with their customer experiences, making them more profitable, making them sort of more effective. So it's quite a new and sort of young company.
Have you been a consultant all your life?
Yeah, unfortunately so. For my sins, that's why I've got no hair. Right?
Is it quite a stressful job then?
No, not stressful. Just it's really dynamic and fast moving.
So what's it like? So you live down in London during the week, do you?
I travel all over wherever my clients go.
Right.
So I live up in Lincolnshire, so down here 2 or 3, 4 days a week. My clients are all over, so constantly on the move. There's the bags and the.
Would you ever consider moving down here?
So I was born in London.
Oh, really?
I'm Cockney actually.
Whereabouts?
Believe it or not. I lived down here with my girlfriend and wife for 7 or 8 years. But as with most young people, couldn't afford to buy anything. So when we had a family, we moved up north.
So, what do you think over your lifetime the scariest thing you've done so far would be?
Scariest thing I've done?
Yeah.
In 2010, I moved out with my wife and kids to live in Beijing in China.
No way.
Which in itself, looking back now, was the best thing from a personal and professional perspective we ever did. But if you can imagine standing in the middle of Beijing, with it being minus 10 degrees, being a small, bald-headed, glassical white guy with being an alien, probably feeling like an alien in a city of 20 million people, that was quite interesting. That sort of shook it up a bit. But so we spent 3 years out there as working and living, and that was looking back at it now, it's fantastic. At the time, it was pretty.
I can imagine.
Not nerve-wracking, but everything changes. All the rules you've ever been brought up in a Western society, completely out the window. Different way of thinking, working, believing. So that was quite interesting.
What do you think of the situation with tax credits? What's your view on that?
Tax credits?
Yeah, well, that's big in the news.
I guess luckily enough, I've never had to sort of be involved with that. I don't know, maybe a bit controversial, maybe it's a good or bad thing, but there's got to be a tax credit scheme that's progressive and supports the people most in need. I just worry, personally, politics aside, that actually it's an abuse system where people would rather take the money and live in and not work. So whether it's an incentive not to work, maybe not. I don't know what the answer is. Otherwise, I'd maybe be a politician.
I have to say, I don't know either. Yeah. I tend to sway. I hear an argument on one side and think, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree. And then you hear something on the other side that's contradictory and equally as.
Do you think the tax credit regime is structured around helping the people most in need, or do you think it's just structured to be not abused, but if you like, leveraged so that people can have their lifestyle?
I genuinely think most people. I read a statistic today actually, which made me think very differently about things, which was that the amount of benefits that are acquired through fraud, is that is tiny compared to the amount of benefits that are not collected by people who are actually due the benefits legally.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, the abuse is a fraction of what.
Absolutely.
There
are loads of people don't actually claim what they're entitled to.
I never knew that actually. That's interesting.
Which made me kind of think quite differently about the whole thing. So I mean, I'm sure the thing is, there are obviously people who do abuse the system, and I don't know. If you were to devise a scheme again, would it be a good idea to subsidise companies to pay their workers less?
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm not sure whether tax credits are. That's basically allowed companies to get.
The minimum wage has been risen, right? Or it's going to be risen. So.
Well, I think Henry Ford had the right idea when he said you've got to pay your workers enough money so they can afford to actually buy your product.
Buy your car.
Otherwise, the system collapses in the end. So I think tax credits basically are a subsidy paid to businesses to allow them to pay people less money and ultimately make more profit. So that might be, you know, I'm just chucking it out there.
No, I could buy the point of view, right?
Yeah.
People who have the mandate to make the decisions around this are only ever guaranteed to be in power for 4 years, 5 years, right? And there's no guarantee. So in the first 2 years, it's honeymoon period. It's probably a year of implementation. There's a year of keeping the vote and not pissing people off. And at the end of it, you know, you're just not guaranteed.
Yeah.
So it's a very transient model. Again, right? So I haven't got an answer for it, but it just feels like you can't make a decision for 15, 20 years, which actually structurally for our whole social and economic system you should be doing, I guess. Well, it's been good chatting to you, and I hope
thank you for taking part. It's been a pleasure.
Some content that's worth editing.
I'm sure there'll be loads of interesting stuff in there. Thanks for being such a good sport. Thanks for watching the Gentleman Cabbie. Click the videos to see more great interviews, and don't forget to subscribe.